Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I am here with the travel book tag. You might be thinking that I have already done this tag, and I have done a different travel book tag, so I will link that down below in case you're interested. But today I'm doing the one that was originally created by Bookish Paradise, and I was tagged by the fabulous Steph from Steph OK, and I will of course link both of them down below. Part 1 is Vacation Flashback. Talk about one of your favorite places you've ever traveled to. Who did you go with? What did you do there? Why was it so memorable? And I love a lot of the places I visited. I don't travel a whole ton. I actually had never been out of the country until a couple of years ago, but I really loved my weekend that I spent in Edinburgh and Scotland. Oh, it was so beautiful, and I was there with a couple of my friends, and we were just there for a long weekend. We couldn't stay very long, but I feel like the people were so friendly there, and the scenery was absolutely gorgeous, and I really love how there's like the kind of metropolitan area, like there's definitely a lot of things you can do in Edinburgh, there's so many places to go, but there's also like a really beautiful, more I don't know, kind of rural area outside of that. You know, like there are definitely some places with a lot of like natural beauty that hasn't been encroached on too much by the city, at least that we could see while we were there. And I just really enjoyed it. I would love to go back someday and actually spend more time there. Part 2 is the Bookish Questions, and number 1 is booking the flight, an expensive book or edition you own. Was it worth it? And for that one, I think it was either one of the two Goddesses books that I showed in my last book haul, or it would be this Random House book of opera stories retold by Adele Jarrah, and I don't know who the illustrator is. Oh, and there's a ton of different illustrators. That's really cool. So I don't remember how much this book was, but I think one of the ones I got at that time, it was either this book or one of the Goddess ones or like a similar kind of opera ballet book. I think it was like $32 or $33 or something like that. It was a lot. I never buy my books full price almost, and I never spend that much on a book, but I really wanted this one because it reminded me of some of my favorite books from when I was younger, and I just really enjoy reading about opera and ballet stories. But I haven't read this one yet, so I can't tell you if it's worth it yet. Number 2, Packing Your Luggage, a book he felt had a busy but organized plot. I'm going with My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante, and this is translated by Anne Goldstein. And I loved this. This is the first book in the Neapolitan novel series, and it's historical fiction set in, I think, the 1950s in Italy. And it is just so compelling and well done, and it's amazing how quickly I got sucked into these people's like ordinary lives. And the reason I'm calling it busy but organized is that there's a huge cast of characters. And there's a lot of kind of relationship dynamics to keep track of, and like who's in which family and which family owns which business, and like who's kind of in a rivalry with another family. But something I thought that helped keep it organized that I really liked is that there's a full index of characters at the front, and it's pretty extensive. So that really helped me kind of keep everyone straight. But I think even in the narrative itself, I think the author did such an amazing job of like describing these characters so well that, especially when I had the index of characters, I didn't have a problem keeping track of who was who because they were so distinctive and so memorable. And I just think this was fantastic. I really want to continue the series soon. And I think even if you're not like a historical fiction person necessarily, I think you could really enjoy this because it almost feels like a contemporary. Like the time and the place is so well described that there's not this kind of like leap of imagination almost that I think sometimes people worry about with historical fiction. You know, you have to kind of like put yourself in a different time and place and get to know like the world and everything. So highly recommend. Number 3, Airport Security Check, a book that you analyze the most, annotations, notes, etc. So I don't annotate my books. I don't write in books, but something that I have definitely analyzed I think the most is Measure for Measure, which is a play by William Shakespeare, and I must have written like 4 or 5 essays on that play at least, and it's so interesting. It's interesting like too because in a way you could say that it's one of my favorite plays because there's so much to talk about and I find it so interesting, but I also hate some aspects of it so much. Like it enrages me. Like some things about that play just make me furious. But I think they're supposed to. Like I think the point is that you're supposed to get angry about the way that these characters are treated and everything. I just spent like so long trying to describe the plot of that play and why it's interesting and important and enraging. And I think I'm just gonna have to do like a separate little mini review on that play because like there's so much to talk about. But yeah, I have analyzed it so much, and I still come up with new things to talk about. And it still remains one of my favorite / least favorite / most interesting plays I've ever read. Number 4, Airport Meal, a book character you wish you could have lunch with. What kind of questions would you ask? And I'm going with Lou from A Sky Painted Gold by Laura Wood. She is the main character, and I would just love to spend time with her and talk to her because I feel like we're very similar. And it kind of surprised me that we were so similar because I don't tend to connect with characters who kind of have like that wanderlust and they want to do things with their life and blah blah blah. Like I don't know, wanderlust is not something I identify with basically. But I think with Lou, I really do identify with the specific kind of wanderlust or ambition that she has, like this feeling that you want to be more interesting than you are, and you want to have your life be a more interesting story. I really just connected with that aspect of her, and I would love to talk to her about that, and kind of just, I think it'd be so fun to just to talk to somebody who like I have that in common with, because I don't come across it very often in fiction, or I guess kind of in life, that very specific kind of like I like where I am, I'm comfortable where I am, but I want to be more exciting where I am. As far as questions, I can't really think of particular questions I would ask her. They'd be really fun to talk to her about favorite books, but other than that, I just would love to hang out with her and kind of just almost commiserate in a way about feeling lost but not wanting to leave. Number 5, Airport Souvenirs, a book you have multiple copies of. I don't tend to buy multiple copies very often, but I'm going to go with the Wrinkle in Time series by Mantle and L'Engle, and there's actually one missing from the box set right now because I have it pulled out, but I got these like fancy new shiny copies when I decided that I wanted to reread them, because my old ones are really falling apart. And actually in my 10 strange bookish facts video, I talked about how I got back into this series out of sheer spite. So I will link that below if you want to check that out. But I really, really love this series. It means a lot to me. And then my original copies are like so beat up and like falling apart, and they're like this weird sort of mass market paperback format, and like 3 of the 4 books don't even match, and like they're just falling apart. But I don't want to get rid of them because I have so many good memories associated with these books, and I kind of like the weird haphazard like mismatched set because there's history there. So even though I like the like beautiful, if I can show you, like the beautiful if that will focus, the beautiful colors and the like neatness of the new copies, there's something about the history of these that I just want to hold on to, and I can't really see myself getting rid of these anytime soon. Number 6, Airplane Turbulence, a book with a plot that made you anxious or nervous. And I'm going with A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabo, translated by Hildegard Searle. This was such a stressful book to read, but like in a good way, because you really felt for the characters, and like I could feel the uncertainty about how things were going to turn out. And I actually have a full spoiler-free review for this book that I will link if you guys want more information on it, but I really, really liked this. I really like how you could feel how high the stakes were. Although that being said, there were some parts that were like unnecessarily stressful, but I guess in a way that's sort of like a point in the book's favor. Number 7 is Landing, your most anticipated release of the year. And I have like a whole video on 2019 anticipated releases that I will link down below, but I'm gonna mention 2 that I actually didn't include in that video that I meant to. And the first one is Midsummer's Mayhem by Rajani LaRocca, and I don't actually know the date this comes out, but I think it's in the summer. It is a Midsummer Night's Dream retelling or inspired story with an Indian American main character, and I think there's like baking magic involved, and it just sounds like just so many things that I love, and I'm so excited about it. And then the other one is the 3rd book in the Red Abbey Chronicles by Maria Turtschaninoff, and the translator for that one is A.A. Prime. And I think that one comes out in either May or June. I will put the exact dates in the description, but I am so, so excited for it. I think the English title was originally Letters to Maurice, but I think they changed it to something else now. But you guys know I love that series. I talk about it all the time. I mentioned it in my feminist fantasy recommendations video, and I just really want it to get more love, because I think the fact that it is translated is one of the reasons it doesn't get a lot of publicity or attention, but it's so well done, so powerful and well constructed, and oh, just the characters and everything, and just the world and the setting and just the themes of women sticking together. I'm so excited for that last book, but I am a little afraid it's gonna break my heart, but you know, such is the reading life. Number 8, Baggage Claim, a book or series that felt like a drag. And I'm gonna go with Mistaking Her Character by Maria Grace. This is my first like official venture into kind of the Jane Austen, like Jane Austen fanfiction kind of genre, which is basically what it sounds like, except that it is a published novel. That's just kind of what the category is called, and I really didn't like this. I will link the wrap-up where I talk about it in detail down below, but yeah, I hated seeing Lizzie and Darcy together, and you know that's a bad sign. Number 9, Destination, a book or series you could read over and over again. And I had several answers I could have chosen for that one, but I went with the Artemis Fowl series by Owen Colfer. We're currently doing our Artemis Fowl read-along, which I'm sure you guys are sick of me mentioning, but I'm still so excited about it, and I'm still like enjoying it so much. I can and have reread these books over and over and over, and I feel like every time I find new things to notice and to appreciate, and I just really love this series. And I think that in addition to being a fun series and an important series when I was younger, I think that there are a lot of important issues it deals with a lot of depth and compassion, and I just really appreciate that. And oh man, like the series meant a lot to me growing up, and it still means a lot to me now, and it's always wonderful when you come across a series that is like that, you know, that's not just, oh, it was fun at the time but I've moved on, you know. I haven't moved on from these books. I don't think I ever will, and I just love them. Okay, everybody, so that was the travel book tag. I'm going to tag Kazen from Always Doing, and anyone else who sees this and who would like to do this tag. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!